is standardized testing. And what standardized testing is, it's a test that is administered and scored in a consistent or standard manner. It's designed in such a way that the questions, conditions for administering, scoring, procedures, and interpretations are consistent and are administered and scored in a predetermined standard manner. Now we're going to present to you a video that gives you an overall of what standardized testing is and what it's about.
Good afternoon. I'm especially honored to be here today because when I was a little kid, my teachers thought I was a big dope. Big because I've had a weight problem for my entire life, and a dope because I did poorly on IQ tests. When I grew up in New Jersey in the mid-1950s, the tradition was to give group IQ tests to students pretty much every year or two. And the psychologist who came into our classroom to give the test scared the bejeebies out of me. She was really scary looking, like, you know, just really made me scared. So I became very test anxious, or at least that's why I would like to think I did poorly. I did poorly on the test. As a result, my teachers thought I was stupid, and since they thought I was stupid, I thought I was stupid. And since I thought I was stupid, I did stupid work. And they were happy I did stupid work because I was meeting their expectations. And I was happy that they were happy, and everyone was pretty happy. So it was a nice, happy kind of environment, except that I was kind of a loser. And it wasn't until I was in 4th grade that I had a teacher, Mrs. Alexa, who thought that there was something more to a student than a test score. And she expected more from me, and I gave her more.
Okay, so we're going to tell you a little bit about the history of standardized testing. High-stakes testing began in the 1980s as a result of educational reforms sought after since the 1960s. In 1965, the Elementary and Secondary Education Act passed. This act introduced minimum qualification tests, and these tests did not impact teachers or schools. In 1969, the National Assessment of Educational Progress launched and administered a required survey that measured what students knew and did not know. Thus, the first national assessment was administered and tested knowledge in science. In 1983, education was pushed to the forefront of the political agenda because the testing showed that American education did not measure up to the education received in other countries, meaning that America was not producing the quality of workers needed to boost the economy. This created a test boom in which state governors tested all students in hopes of boosting the economy. In 1988, the National Assessment Government Board was created by Congress, and finally, No Child Left Behind passed in 2002. So No Child Left Behind administered high-stakes tests to all students, and these tests serve as an assessment for the school. It's considered a high-stakes test. It's a test that means that no child failed. And failure of this is so spectacular after a decade after the program began that students are ranked as a D or an F in the quality of education. And we have the video to explain a little bit more about the problems shown with No Child Left Behind.
Hi everyone. Do standardized tests truly measure how well our kids perform in school and life? That's what some educators are asking since No Child Left Behind is up for congressional renewal this year. President Bush signed the No Child Left Behind Act into law back in 2002. It requires schools to test students in grades 3 to 8 every year in reading and math. Schools that fail to make progress face severe penalties like decreased funding. New proposals would make the penalties even harsher. Schools should be held to high standards, but some argue high-stakes testing has forced teachers to teach to the test, giving schools an excuse to cut civics and art classes because they're not a part of federal tests. Parents and teachers should work together on decisions about what and how children learn and find sensible ways to measure that. And Washington should do its homework and not just rubber stamp the bill. That's a page from my notebook. I'm Katie Couric, CBS News.
Okay, some arguments that this topic brings up that are that standardized testing should never be used as the sole indicator of a student, teacher, or school's achievements. This is because the test doesn't look at the student as an individual to make note of their differences. Standardized tests stakes are held too high, and because of this, emotional stress and anxiety can be present. They also take away the aspects of the learning process, such as the overall learning experiences, motivations, and creativity of the learning environment, while neglecting to see the full profile of a student. These tests are not a fair or effective way of evaluating the child's overall accountability, intelligence, or successfulness. And according to Hayden, results of standardized testing can't tell anyone how this person knew the right answer or if they genuinely know the process of how they were able to work it out and get the actual right answer. This research proves that a number can't simply be the determining factor in whether the student has learned the information or if their teacher accurately taught the information. There is so much more to knowledge than a quantitative number.
Okay, now I'm going to discuss with you all the ethical issues behind standardized testing. Because of the No Child Left Behind Act, if a child is predicted to fail, the teacher will spend less time with that child, which can harm the student that is doomed to fail now and in the long run. Because they aren't given the same opportunities as the other students, all because this child has more difficulty learning. Every time a child fails, the teacher's pay goes down and the school loses funding. We have to remember there are other factors involved. It is not an if this, then this statement. There are other factors such as what Kelsey just mentioned before. Kids get anxiety and go completely blank. How many of you have studied for an exam or a test and then gone completely blank during it?
Me.
Yeah. It's not because you weren't knowledgeable to understand the material. It's all anxiety. As for less funding for the school, this creates a vicious cycle because the main principle in No Child Left Behind Act is that no child fails, and if there's less funding to the school, there is going to be less learning opportunities, which is going to create more failure, and the cycle goes round and round. Students that were less successful dismissed from school or sent on a trip during testing so as not to mess up school rankings. Borderline students have a different curriculum than others since they affect the ranking the most. Kids causes behavioral problems and physical problems, and the tests do not evaluate various types of students and work what students have learned for a long period of time. Thanks for dyslexia.
I'll give a like Mrs. Alexa. She was married. In any case, so
Obviously, describe like what you're
it's partially superstition. Professor Yeoman Collins and I created a project called the Rainbow Project, and what we did is devise tests of creative, analytical, and practical skills. And the question was, if we do a national project all over the country with students in colleges ranging from community colleges to middle-of-the-range colleges to highly prestigious colleges, can we do better than the standardized tests? And what we found is that we could double prediction of first-year academic average over the conventional standardized tests like the SAT and the ACT. Second, we found that we could cut ethnic group differences about in half. And third, we found that indeed it was possible to separate creative and practical performance from the kinds of memory and analytical performance that the test tested. So these were great results, and I was really happy.
Obviously, there will be stuff on this slide. FYI.
Alright, I'm going to explain to you guys some solutions that we came up with to help standardize testing. Stop making this exam a do or die exam. Like, one test shouldn't decide your future. These tests don't evaluate different types of students' work or what they do overall in a high school setting. Statistics show that more than 1/2 of students that take standardized tests don't do as well as they've hoped. But that doesn't mean that they should get punished for taking one bad test. Like, I know everybody's probably done horrible on a test, but should that decide whether or not you're going to go to your dream school, or say you're going to pass a class, or that shouldn't decide your fate? A lot of colleges nowadays don't even require SATs or ACT scores. And I think this is a good idea because it's an emphasis on your overall accomplishment in school. And you're not the only one that gets punished for this. Teachers, the schools get punished for it. Everyone gets punished for one person doing bad on the test. So should that be fair? We don't think so.
Okay. And last, we don't know. We don't have it up here right now, but we're gonna leave y'all with a quote that we thought was pretty interesting, and have you guys settle and think about that. The quote is that teachers these days are not teaching the students how to understand and grasp the information at hand that they need to learn to go on to life. It's more of teachers are teaching these students how to simply pass the test, and it's not going to help them in the future and with what they choose to do in life. So we need to put an end to this, and we need your guys' help to help us. Thank you for watching, and have a great day. Okay, we should stop the camera.
Yeah, you just hit the record button.
Woo! Oh, I don't know. You can do it.